Welcome, my darling pretties, to our Beyond the Dawn of Business podcast for pretty, empowered female entrepreneurs. It's time to step into your power, pretties. Lift each other, support the squad, and choose a life filled with the autonomy and freedom to live your dreams. I'm your host, Dawn Beth, owner and founder of Beyond the Dawn digital business brand and agency. My coffee is hot and my eyelashes are on, so we are ready to go. Hello and welcome to this episode. I am so excited to talk to you today about this particular theme. It's something that has been coming across to me now for, probably a couple of weeks, where I am hearing more and more from my clients in regards to scarcity and fear about our economic situation and the potential recession that we are facing. Now, I need to put a little disclaimer on this one. I have called this episode Recession Proofing Your Business. And yes, that is a bit of a marketing spin on what we're facing. We are going to get real today. We are going to talk about the real stuff. I want you to know that this episode is intended to support you, to support your mindset, to reduce the opportunity for that scarcity and fear to take hold and start making your key decisions for you. It is not intended to suggest that there aren't hardships on the way and that we won't have to change the way that we work in order to be able to keep going as we have. But I do feel like it's a really good opportunity for us to start the discussion, for us to consider our options, and to remember that we've been through business hardships before, and actually not that long ago. So, what are the main concerns for the entrepreneurs of the world right now in terms of our economic situation and our recession, especially within the UK and the US? Well, in truth, there are a lot of things that we're worrying about right now. As people, we're worrying about our bills going up, everything costing more, our income not raising to meet that standard, which is obviously the reason why we panic. It's about us also feeling a sense that people are going to be more frugal, that they're going to perhaps be a little bit more discerning in their decision making when they're deciding where to spend their hard-earned cash. Now, that is absolutely what is going to happen. So if those are the thoughts that you've been having, if those are the things that you've been thinking about alongside the energy crisis and heating our homes just being a monumental kind of worry for us right now, then please know that all you've recognized are what's really happening in the world. Okay, it's good to be a realist. I know that it is something that we kind of like make a decision about in terms of who we are and what we want to look at, what we want to focus on. But in truth, you do have to be a realist. You absolutely do. The situation is as it is, and we have to make decisions and changes and things as easy for ourselves as humanly possible and as easy for our clients as humanly possible, because we're all in the same situation, right? Now, one of the things that I really, really loved about the connection that came from the COVID crisis, yes, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about the C word, and not the Christmas one. The COVID crisis, the global pandemic, the global extinction event, if we're going to be really real about it, that is not too far away in our minds. It's actually still something that's there in everyday life. We're all still hearing about it. People are still going and getting their booster shots. We're still hearing about people who are suffering via long COVID. It's not gone, okay? But if you can cast your mind back to March 2020, which is around the time that most of us really got that kick in the nuts, that this wasn't just some new seasonal cold that we were all going to have to deal with, we had a moment on the precipice of that that was similar to this, but this time we don't have the threat to human life in the same way. I'm not suggesting that the situations that will occur financially won't have a threat to human life, because for those who are in financial situations where things are really quite dire, this is just going to make things worse for them, absolutely. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I want you to cast your mind back to how you felt about your life and your business March 2020. That is, if you were in business March 2020. And if you weren't in business March 2020, if you're a relatively new business, then please take some of the wisdom from this podcast and use it as your guide, because, you know, many of us were in business, and quite a lot of my clients were newly in business. They'd literally just made the decision to go all in on their dreams, and then this thing happened, and it looked like incredibly awful timing for them. Lots of people had to make decisions on what they were going to do next and what they were going to put their focus on. Now, what tends to happen, and it is almost universal, is that all of us begin to panic about what we have. So whether you have £1 million in your savings account right now or £1.50, you may want to hold on to that amount like it is, you know, absolute, like it is the best thing in the world. You might want to hide all your gold bars under your bed, start strapping cash to the back of your toilet, all of those kind of things to make sure you have what you've got and nobody can take it away from you. Now, on a normal day, we know that that's scarcity. We know that that's fear. We know that that comes from a place of feeling like what we have can be taken away from us at any moment. So instead of accumulating more of what we deserve, we hold on to what we have right now as though this is the only thing. We put that vibration out into the universe that we have to hold on to it. We have to hold on to it so tightly. White knuckle holding on to all of these assets that we have, because any second now they can be removed, without realizing that all of the time we have the opportunity to create, build, attract, and have more assets. And this goes for money too. So, as a business owner who is a realist, who has recognized the environment that we're currently in, how do you navigate the next few months? Whilst everything is up in the air, there is a lot of media coverage that will feed your scarcity, that will feed your fear, that will make you believe that white knuckling onto the assets that you have right now is the thing that you need to do. It will have you forcing yourself not to spend anything or not to allow yourself into situations that may put you in a situation of lack. What do you do? Well, back in March 2020, we noticed in our business a massive drawback. Clients that had worked with us for years and years and years, who were incredibly comfortable, incredibly happy with our service, getting excellent results and just loving the way everything was running, suddenly went into freeze mode. We had lots of people asking if we could pause, change, amend, reduce our agreements, whether we could change the way we work together to make allowances for the situation that was going to occur in regards to COVID. And that felt really rough. And at the time, I was luckily in a position that I had the cash flow and the business possibilities to be able to support a few of the people who came to me with that feeling and mindset, and allow them to shift and change accordingly. Okay, it's not always possible, but it was possible for some of them, and we did what we could when we could, right? But I had a massive decision to make myself, because for every service provider, there is a service provider. For every coach, there is a coach. For every mentor, there is a mentor. If you're ever being taught by somebody who doesn't have a coach or a mentor, then, run. We have people we have to pay out too. We have freelancer staff. We have our normal employed team. We have systems that we pay thousands of pounds a month to use because they're the best ones to deliver what our clients need. we have agreements and contracts. I think at the time I was with somebody over podcasting. I was with somebody for PR. I was with somebody for coaching. And all of these things were areas that I could have looked at. And I could have reached out to those people and said, look, things are tough right now. I'm going to back off. I'm going to back down. Is that okay with you? Can we shift, amend, and do what, some of our clients did to me? And I chose not to. I chose to pay all of my invoices in full without worry, so that the people on the other end of them got paid in full without worry. And that was a concept at the time that seemed a little bit out there. Like, the quiet confidence that we had in our business wasn't always well received. Lots of people were telling other people to scale back, to reduce, to hold on to things. Let the 30-day of invoices perhaps lapse so that you have another month's cash flow in the bank before you go ahead and spend. And that just doesn't feel ethically right to me, that somebody on the other end of the chain would then be in a worse position. And consider this, we talk all the time about female entrepreneurs, like how wonderful we are at empowering each other, how wonderful we are at reaching back for each other and taking care of each other. We all feed each other. We all do well together. It's a massive community, and it comes from a place of love. And even those people who that are in your network, female entrepreneurs that you perhaps don't personally connect to, there will be people that you meet that you don't particularly like. There's still no harm there. There's still a love and a hope for them, even in a distant way, for them to succeed and for them to be okay. So why would you become part of the problem if you could become part of the solution? Now, it wasn't just us that did this. Luckily, I'm surrounded by a lot of enlightened female entrepreneurs and business owners, and quite a few people had the same feeling as myself, and then even some other people who had perhaps been swayed by the exterior media, the external scarcity and lack that was surrounding us, cottoned on to what we were doing and joined the focus. And what that meant was more and more people decided to do that same thing, to pay those invoices, to keep going, to not renegade, to make sure that the person on the other end of the chain that we'd created, that we'd signed up for, that we'd associated with, still got what they were meant to get. And then more and more people started to do that for us as well, because we are our own micro economy. And when we all continue and we all work together, amazing things happen. Now, during the time, something else that we did that was quite interesting was we decided that with some of the extra time that we had because of lockdown, because there was less social aspects going on, we decided to do some good and pay some stuff forward. So I did a massive amount of pro bono, for lack of a better term, kind of coaching and training for people. I created a free group for my local community that quickly, went to 25k people, all amazing humans in the local area, looking out for people who perhaps didn't have family or perhaps didn't have somebody there already helping them out. And we matched volunteers. We passed that over to the local council once they'd got themselves sorted out and the government had given guidelines on what to do next. But we did all of that with our extra time. So instead of looking at the situation in I'm going to hold on to everything I've got, I'm going to hold on to all of my assets, I'm going to not spend anything, I'm not going to do anything on my marketing, I'm going to reduce my budgets, I'm going to stop, I'm going to hold on, I'm going to freeze, I'm going to panic. What we did instead was a lot of action. We took a lot of action. We paid our invoices. We stayed in those masterminds. We helped people. Yes, there were some of our clients that obviously felt that they needed to change, and if we could help them, we did. But the majority of them actually didn't need to change. The majority of them had no issue whatsoever with their businesses continuing once they'd gotten over that personal, emotional feeling of fear. And that's something that I'd really like you to think about. Like, are you sat right now in a place of fear? Are you telling yourself the story that you can no longer afford to push your business forward. The reason why that's really important for me to discuss with you is because I have a little fact which is exciting for you to hear on the precipice of the next couple of months. So out of all of the clients that we have, and we have many in many different capacities, there were a few steadfast clients who at the time of March 2020, instead of reducing their marketing budget with us, ramped their marketing budget up. So they took other areas of their business that they were spending. They reduced costs in other places, but they put that additional money not in the bank, not in their back pocket, not in their secret scary savings recession fund. They put it towards their marketing. Because the one thing that they did know, and this is true again for us on the precipice of these next couple of months, is that when we are in a situation, an environmental situation such as this, an economical situation such as this, people are more careful about what they spend. They are looking to still be sold to, but they're looking to be sold to in a cleverer, more clear and concise way. Now, if you're sat there thinking, I have just fired my social media VA, or I have just decided not to take the rent on that particular property, or I've just reduced my freelance team, or I have decided to cancel my subscription to Hootsuite, or whatever of those things that you may have decided to do, that might not be the best thing for you to do for your business at this moment in time. It's much more likely, and it was very clearly, a better time for those businesses that instead of veering away from their marketing budget during times of scarcity or worry, they tripled down. Now, that's not to say that I'm suggesting that all of you go and blow your life savings on marketing. That would be dead easy for somebody like me in marketing to say, right? Like, just come spend all your money with me instead, it would be fine. But the truth of the matter is that's not the right thing to do either. You need to consider where you're at in your business right now, and you need to consider where you want to be. And just like summer bodies are made in winter, you need to be thinking about what kind of business you want to be left with when we get on the other side of this recession. Do you want to have a business that has been steadfast, that has thrived, that has still continued to grow regardless? Or do you want to have a business that was killed off by this particular recession? Because backing down and taking out and hunkering down and hiding is the exact thing that will stop you from generating income in your business. And that can be quite a scary thought, right? Like, wait a minute, this is an awful time for the economy. It's an awful time for businesses. It's an awful time for families. It's an awful time for everybody. Like, everything's a bit scary. Mortgage rates might go up. We might not be able to afford our mortgages. All of these things are going on. Even Martin, the money man, can't fix anything, regardless of his fantastic expertise. He hasn't got any answers for us. There's no quick fix here. And now Dawney's telling me I need to continue showing up. I need to continue doing my marketing. I continue paying my invoices, and instead of firing social media managers, I should be hiring social media managers. There are ways and means to do this, okay? There is a way and a mean for every single budget. So don't think that I'm sat here saying, oh, just go and blow a couple of grand on a social media manager from between now and Christmas. But do consider your marketing. Even if you do it yourself, what can you do to up-level it? When we're creating our offers, when we're creating all of our packages and things that you can help yourself with and support yourself with that we do for you, we're always looking at multiple price points. Our template shop, for instance, which gives quality professional graphic design templates that you can edit yourself for your social media marketing, is less than £15 a month. Okay? Less than £15. That's like not having some Costa coffee this month is the difference. Yeah? Not suggesting that you shouldn't have Costa coffee if you want it, because it's fabulous. But there are ways and means. Okay. I'd love to invite you to consider your current marketing strategy. And if you have that feeling, for me, it happens like a ball just underneath my chest, like at the top of my tummy. And that's where all of my panic and fear accumulates in my body. If you have that feeling, you're like, oh, this is nervous, this is difficult, this is a hard thing for me to face, then I want you to consider why that is. Where does that fear come from for you? What is the actual issue? If the issue is that you are scared of not having enough money, or if you are scared of losing everything you've built, think about transition, think about flexibility, think about adaptability, and think about actions you can take that will change that landscape. Don't just sit and watch the storm come to you. How are you going to weather that storm? How are you going to navigate and direct your ship on this choppy sea away from that storm? Okay? You can't control the weather, but you can control how long you sit in it and whether you let that rain soak you through. I hope today's conversation has been enlightening for you. If you haven't already, do come and join us in my free group, The Social Pretties. I cannot wait to hear your amazing comments from this episode. I love hearing from you, and thank you to everybody who sends me DMs, emails, and chats to me within my community about them. I will speak to you soon. If you're loving our Pretty podcast, come on over to Social Pretties, our online safe house and sisterhood community. It's a safe space where female entrepreneurs connect and thrive in a warm, welcoming fold of pretty amazing women. You'll find an easy redirect in the description, and I can't wait to see you in there. And depending on where you're listening right now, we would love it if you would click subscribe or follow so that you can be the first to know when our new podcasts come out.